The next episode of The Commercial Break starts now.
Oh, yeah, cats and kittens, welcome back to The Commercial Break. I'm Bryan Green. This is my dear friend and the co-host of this show, Chris and Joy Hoadley. Best to you, Chris.
Best to you, Bryan.
Best to you out there in the podcast universe. Thanks for joining us on a Tuesday after the Super Bowl. One of the most uneventful Super Bowls in history. I mean, eventful in the sense that it happened and there were commercials.
It was
and
weird.
Kendrick Lamar was there, and so was Donald Trump and Taylor Swift. We'll get into all of that tomorrow in detail. But wow, what a blowout!
It was 0.
The Philadelphia Eagles manhandled Patrick Mahomes.
They did.
Manhandled Mahomes. Probably the best quarterback, certainly, of our, in this time period. Shocking. It really was. I don't know the first fucking thing about football, and I was shocked. Totally shocked. After the second quarter, I was like, well, this is over, I guess. I guess we're just going to all sit here and watch the Eagles. Absolutely. It honestly looked like a high school team playing a flag football team. It was like unbelievable how the Eagles tore them apart in every aspect of the game. What do they have, like 100 yards of total offense or something like that? And I don't even know what that means, Krissy. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, going into halftime, it was like 23.
It was 23-0 and 30-0 within the third. Anyway, TCB Infomercial Tuesday. You're not here to listen to football. I know, and listen about football. I know that. If you're here to hear Bryan talk about football, change the channel. Not going to do it. TCB Infomercial Tuesday with Ari Shaffir. He is here with us. I'm so excited to talk to Ari. Yeah. Ari is a noted comic who has many specials out there. He's been doing this for a very long time. A podcaster, longer than I guarantee you and I have even known what... I've known about podcasts for a long time. I guarantee he was doing it long before we even heard the word
he's
podcast.
He's been on the bandwagon since early.
He has. 2015, I think, is when he started his first podcast. He's made many appearances on many different podcasts, including The Rogan Show, Tom Segura's podcast. And then he's got his own podcast called You Be Trippin', which is very good.
I've listened to it. It's
now
really
on my
funny.
4th episode, and I've really been enjoying it. I just listened to the one with Jim Gaffigan, which I thought was really good. Wait, did you listen?
Harland. I listened to
you listened to the Harland?
Yeah,
you listened to Harland Williams. Okay, well, we'll talk
really
more
good.
about that with Ari. And now he's got his brand new Netflix special is out, America's Sweetheart. This one that one had me rolling on the floor.
Yeah, it's really funny.
He is really good at what he does. So Ari is here. We're going to talk all about it. He's also got his farewell tour. I'd like to get to the bottom of that. Why is he faring well?
I don't know. We're going to find out.
Will this be an Eagle? No pun intended. Will this be an Eagles type situation where Ari just says it's farewell and then he comes back 7 or 8 times? Or is this the nail in the coffin for Ari Shaffir? We will find out, Krissy.
Yes, we will.
Because I will go right at him. I'm going to ask him the tough questions. Like, why are you calling this the farewell tour? No, if you're looking for hard-hitting interview styles where Bryan talks over the guests the entire time, this is your place, my friends. This is your place. But before we get to that, I have one note. Krissy and I last week went and saw Bill Murray and the Blood Brothers. The long time coming. I got these tickets for my brothers and for my father to go see Bill Murray, who the entire family just really enjoys.
I'm a huge
Bill
fan.
Murray. Yeah. And we're from Chicago. There's some connections there. So my dad has been kind of putting Bill Murray in front of us since we were little kids. In the first Saturday night, early years of Saturday Night Live, all of his movie, Caddyshack. Of course, we can go on and on.
Wasn't he in Stripes?
He was in Stripes,
I love
which is one of the funniest movies ever. That is Bill Murray at his zenith, in my opinion. Either that or What About Bob? It just depends on which style you like. You could go Lost in Translation.
One of my favorite.
Oh, Groundhog Day. Day.
That's my favorite.
Caddyshack. A million other movies.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters 2. Every single Wes Anderson movie he's been in.
Yes. Love those.
Which was the one about the school, the kid in the school?
Well, there were the Royal Tenenbaums.
Royal Tenenbaums was fantastic, but there was the one about the school. Anyway, you get it. He's been in a ton of those. So Krissy and I went and saw Bill Murray and the Blood Brothers, or as we found out, the Blood Brothers, ... with Bill Murray playing the tambourine.
And the cowbell.
And he sang a few songs. We'll talk more about that later on this week also. But I thought there was an interesting little through line there when last night I was watching the Super Bowl, the big game as they call it, Krissy, down in the Big Easy, if you don't mind. And Bill Murray popped on for about 15 seconds and gave his email address.
Yeah.
Bill himself at yahoo.com. Now, I know I was getting tricked, but I had to go along with it anyway.
You wanted to see what
I had to take the chance that we might actually be emailing Bill Murray. That Bill might have spent $4.5 million just to have people email him so he could fuck around, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of guy that Bill is. He doesn't have a cell phone. He doesn't have an agent. He only has a home phone that he never answers, apparently in Charleston, that Krissy and I have tried to dial a number of times.
We did.
And an email address is one of the only ways that you can get a script over to Bill. It's there's story after story after story about how hard it is to try and get Bill Murray to be involved in anything. So I thought, who the fuck still has a Yahoo address?
I know.
Who? No one. So clearly this is his real email address because this is the way Bill Murray would have done it. Fax machine and Yahoo email address. That's clearly what's got to be going on here.
Yeah.
So I email that fucking email address, and what comes back is the strangest fucking story about him being seeing a dog in the mirror, and then he had to go to the vet to get checked out. It's a really weird, convoluted, complicated marketing scheme, I guess is the best way to put it, for Yahoo Mail. An effort
to bring back Yahoo.
It's not going to happen. We all have bad memories of our Yahoo accounts. We're not going back there. We all have bad memories of not being able to email, not understanding what email is, and Nigerian email scammers.
Yeah.
We all have a bad memory about trying to get $14 million out of South Africa. Okay? We all have it. Everyone's got that story because Yahoo put us in that position. And I'm sorry, Yahoo. I'm not going back. If I show up to a meeting, any meeting, even though I'm a dumb, mediocre comedy podcaster, if I was to show up to a meeting and say, yeah, my email address is Bryan podcast at yahoo.com, people would laugh me out of the room. There's no serious person in the world that still has a Yahoo email address. Is there?
I don't think so.
No. Krissy said no.
Even further back is AOL.
Oh, don't even get me started on AOL.
AOL.com.
I actually just emailed with a guy who had an AOL
yeah, people
email
still
address.
have them. It's crazy.
I think AOL is still sending out those discs. 4 free hours of internet. Download now.
Yeah.
And then it would take you 3 hours to get the disc to load onto your computer. Yeah, listen, those were the early pioneers of the internet, but they just kind of mishandled the whole situation. Didn't Yahoo get bought by somebody? I don't know. I had a friend who worked for Yahoo for the longest time. He was he would make banner ads for Yahoo.
Sure.
Not for their clients, but for Yahoo. And he would make the tiles that would show up on the homepage. And he was really good at what he did. He was a really good designer. And Yahoo paid him a dick shit of money to do this. Day after day, night after night, he would create them 5 in a day. And Yahoo apparently was a great company to work for.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the way, Yahoo fell out of favor. And I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, they were a whole homepage. You could get onto there and see all your news and weather and all of that and check your email.
Yeah.
And then we all migrated away
We all
from
migrated to Google, where now they just, I don't know, it just says Google on it. It doesn't give you any information. It just says Google.
Yeah.
But Yahoo was so embedded in my life that I remember feeling, there's certain brands that you buddy up to. You really feel you're there. That's my brand.
Loyal.
Those are my, Bud Light was my brand for a while, right? I really liked Bud Light. I wouldn't drink anything else if I had the choice. I was a Bud Light guy. When I walked in and I saw that blue box, I knew that was mine, and she knew I was hers, and I knew she was mine. That kind of thing. Yahoo, I had that same sentiment with for a while because, Jamland Productions at yahoo.com. That's Jamland.
I forgot.
By the way,
your foray into was it
music
EDM?
Live music production? Yeah. Yes, we would put on festivals and live EDM concerts at clubs, fashion shows, / Grateful Dead shows / EDM concert.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just that we're just a little bit ahead of our time with that one. But Jamland Productions at yahoo.com, probably still out there somewhere, I would imagine. But I felt like some kinship with Yahoo because they were my, email service provider.
Sure.
But I think once I got a BlackBerry, it just all turned to shit. I thought, I don't need that Yahoo anymore. But strange thing about Jamland Productions, that name is actually still alive and kicking with
I'm sure.
With Pete. The
yeah.
guy,
right. With your guy.
The DJ. Yes, with the DJ. He's still putting on shows under the name Jamland Productions. There you go.
We must go check one out.
We must. You know who else is putting on shows?
Who's that?
Ari Shaffir is putting on shows. He's on tour. He's on his farewell tour. He's hitting a bunch of different cities, including Atlanta. So we'll have to have a conversation with him about that. We'll angle for free tickets. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Ari is very popular. He's got many specials out there on YouTube. You can go to arishafir.com for all of the information. I will put links in the show notes. You can also check out his new special, America's Sweetheart, which is doing apparently well on Netflix. It pops up. I don't know if Netflix just throws those things in front of me. It's probably an algorithm, right?
Yeah, it is.
That you like this, so you'll like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They're fucking with me like the rest of the internet is. Okay.
It's all an algorithm.
Well, anyway, you might have to go searching for it, but Ari Shaffir has a new special called America's Sweetheart, and it is very good. You should go watch it. We're going to talk to Ari about all of his comings and goings, and maybe ask him about a few pop culture things and see what get his temperature.
Let's do it.
What do you think?
Let's do it.
We'll take a break, Krissy. Let's do this. Let's take a break. And then do the magic of telepodcasting. We're going to have Ari right here in studio on that TV, live and in person in front of us. We get to ask all the questions. Are you have your questions ready?
I'm down with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Take notes. We'll take a break and we'll be back. Ari, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate
Welcome.
Thanks, guys.
it.
Thank you very much.
You're in the beautiful city of Nash Vegas right now.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. I got drunk yesterday.
You got what?
Drunk the night before. Drunk yesterday. So,
I lived there for 5 years. It's a fun city.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a bachelorette town.
Where do you go when you're in Nashville? What's your favorite honky tonk to head out to?
I don't know. I've avoided Broadway this time. I'm in East Nashville for the first time, which is kind of cooler. Still some crime, still some hipsters. It's where the new gays are coming to try to take it back.
Yeah, it's got a little grit to it.
Yeah,
you're doing a number of shows in Vegas, huh? I mean, in Nashville, huh?
Yeah, I got 5. They're all great. They're Club Rules. It's a really cool place. Yeah, I got to hang out with Nate yesterday and his wife.
But you weren't doing a show with Nate, were you?
No, we don't have the same market at all. He's so clean. We get along, but he's like, I could never expose my audience.
No. Nate is clean as a whistle. When I watched his recent special, I talked about it here on the air. It's clean as a whistle. It's different. It's a different kind of comedy than I'm normally listening
Yeah, me too.
But I thought he did an excellent job. He's really good at his craft. But so are you. America's Sweetheart is an excellent set of comedy. You did a really good job. I thought it was really funny. Congratulations on it.
Heck yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just trying to get people to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with something you said. I wanted to point this out because we were talking about Kanye the other day and his young lady running down the red carpet.
What a dress. First of all, listen, you don't have to wear a giant coat if you wear anything underneath. You can just wear a t-shirt and a hoodie.
That's
it. Would make the same as a mink and a nothing.
Yeah.
100%. You were saying there is no sacred ground anymore.
No, all shock value
Once
is
your
gone.
vag is out, then there's nothing else left to the imagination.
I mean, what? Why even? It's just news. Why even have the thing?
We asked the same question.
Which I'm for.
Yeah.
But
what is it pushing? Well, what agenda is it push? Obviously, you're there to get cameras.
I know one thing it's pushing. He's a great body.
Take that from her. No doubt
about that. No doubt about that. Yeah.
Not one person was like, ooh, gross body. They were all like, I mean, the canvas is great.
It was an excellent specimen. I guess it got people talking, right?
It did. That was the purpose, and that's what Kanye does very well, is he gets people talking. And I was telling Krissy here, I said, this is the first time my wife has ever sent me a nude photograph of a woman that was not her. So mark the time, mark the place. She was like, did you see this? And I see it. I'm zooming in.
Quadrant 6G. Zoom, enhance.
For like 15 minutes, Rolling Stone had the unedited photograph on their Instagram, and I'm sure everybody took a screenshot like I did. But now, when Astrid looks at my phone and she sees a nude woman, I'm be like, you sent it to me. So I don't
you got me
want
started.
any more complaining.
I didn't even know there were nude women until you sent me that one. Now it's all I can think about. But yeah, Kanye's music rules. That's what we should focus on.
Yes.
Not him standing there like a loony.
That is the point that you made that I thought was pretty prescient. And we had this conversation in the studio a couple of weeks ago. We were kind of talking about how some of my children are now listening to Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson is in some of these cartoon movies that he's got, the Bad, the Thriller, songs, and stuff like that. And I was like, I wonder if that's, I wonder if I should have any feelings about that, but I really don't, because sometimes it's important to separate the art from the artist. And you said something interesting. I'm not going to butcher your joke, but you said something interesting that I don't follow Kanye on Twitter. I follow him on Spotify. And I think that was a really well done joke. That is a prescient point. Like, all artists are fucking Looney Tunes. We went and
Lunatics
tunes. Krissy
all
and
of them.
Went last night and saw Bill Murray and his Blood Brothers, the band. So Bill Murray singing, playing drums and tambourine very poorly. I'm a cowbell.
Yeah.
Bill Murray, the comedian, comic actor?
Yeah, the comic actor. It was crazy.
He's got like an 8-piece band that he travels around with.
Well, let's be real about this.
It's the band with Bill Murray sitting in the back.
Yeah.
Right. How was it?
It was actually entertaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
I give it that. I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It was entertaining. I don't want to knock it because we had a ton of fun.
We laughed a lot.
But, this is a $5 cover band. Anywhere else without Bill Murray. Like, this is the band, the house band at some, cheap bar that serves $5 drafts. That's what it is. But they were talented, no doubt.
They were talented. There was a lot of good saxophone mixed in there.
Can't say that about Bill.
I want to see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you've got to.
You've got to.
But yeah, they're all lunatics. You can't judge them for anything other than the thing they put out.
Exactly.
And,
I don't want my artists if they're not a little bit insane. Do you know what I'm saying? Take away all the people who've done shit, all the artists who have done shitty, crazy things, and you go and take your I don't know, your Spotify playlist or your CDs or your albums or whatever. Go take them and throw them in the garbage, and you will have nothing left. There's nothing else there. So Kanye's a little crazy, but there's
nothing else there. You take heroin out of the arts. It's
right.
It's true. It's true. It's true. So tell me about the traveling.
I got more into Kanye after all this, legitimately.
Did you?
As everything was coming up, and I was like, and then my friends would send me like, "Hey, I know he's like supposed to be like hates Jews or whatever, but have you heard this one song?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's really good. How did I miss that one?" like it helped me focus on his music, and I was like, "Oh, his music, I passed by it. This is amazing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black Skinhead slaps.
Do you think? Well, we're talking about Kanye. Are you under the assumption, I am, that he's just trolling everybody? That's just like a master troll?
Yes, 100%. I mean, I'm a troll, so I can recognize it. He's just saying stuff that gets people upset. And it's also like, some of it's like high school level.
Right.
Hitler had some good ideas. Like, we were saying that in 5th grade in a Jewish school. Just to like tweak at each other.
Right.
It's like, right. But it's just the easiest way to say something that'll piss people off. Because, the Volkswagen was cool.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't take that away from him.
100%. Something came out of it.
Yeah. Listen, the mustache never caught up. So that was a failure.
It's true. I think it's illegal in some parts of the world to have that mustache, actually, isn't it? In Germany, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think
frowned upon.
I think frowned upon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Germans got super. I do know for a fact that you cannot have the name Adolf anywhere in Germany. That's like a name that you cannot put on a birth certificate. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
he ruined it.
He did. No, there's no more
One
Adolf.
bad egg.
One bad egg.
One super bad egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to all the Donalds out there of 150 years from now? Or the Joes? What are we going to do, Krissy, when we can't name our kids Donald or Joe anymore? Yeah. Well. You have an excellent podcast called You Be Trippin'. It's really good. What gave you the premise? You've actually, I have to say this, Ari, you've been doing podcasting a lot longer than people have known about podcasting. Weren't you on Rogan's episode number 2 or 3 or something?
Yeah, they were pretty early on. We all were like looking for a way away from radio. We can't cuss, and we had to wake up at 6 a.m. to do it.
Yeah,
it sucked. It always sucked. You get some dumb fucking local local DJ, didn't know anything. It was just kind of like, oh, what are we doing here? We can't even curse. Yeah. And so then it was like, I wish there was a way to do this in the afternoon and then with cussing. But nothing was there. Yeah. And then suddenly something popped their heads up and comedians loved it. We drove right into it.
Yeah, it certainly has become a vehicle that...
I've been doing it for like 15 years. It's crazy how long it's been around at this point.
Yeah, it's been around for 15 years. When did you do your first podcast? Like 2010, right?
Yeah, I was on Rogan's pretty early. Then like probably a year later, I started my old one that I stopped. But like, yeah, I did that for like 10 or 12 years. And now this new one, it's just like, yeah, it's become part of the landscape now. It's pretty wild.
It really has. I think that if you're a comedian, an entertainer, I mean, it's like, it's just a thing you have to do. It's a rubber stamp. You have to get a
People didn't even know what they were.
No.
I would ask people to be a guest on my podcast. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, it's like an internet radio thing. It won't be live. You have to explain them the whole format. Yeah. I'm like, how? Like, that's not what I want to get into. Just when you come over and let me talk to you.
when we did our first podcast, and we would, I mean, this is 5 or 6 years ago.
We come from radio.
We come from radio. We worked in radio back in the at the tail end of the demise of what was radio.
You brought it down. You killed it with it.
That's true. Luckily, we weren't on air. We were on the business side of things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was even shittier on the sales side than it was on the on-air side. You thought the on-air guys were buffoons. Yeah. You should have seen some of the people we worked with. I mean, used car salesmen. Yeah.
Oh, that must have been great. Local radio and the people that came at you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It was entertaining.
You're like going to a dry cleaner and begging them to spend $1,000 on 2 spots that are clearly, or might bring them some business, but you have to like be convinced that this is it, and knowing damn well that every other radio station in town every other person in town has come to them.
Calling on them, yeah.
We used to hear stories that in radio, when we got into, this is like 2005, 2006, so right when podcasting was coming online.
Right.
We worked for Clear Channel and what is now iHeartRadio. They didn't even have an app yet. Like, it was coming online as we were starting. So we used to hear stories about the heyday back in the 90s where they would have a margarita machine next to the fax machine.
Next to the cocaine.
And the fax machine would just ring all day. People just sending an order, tens of thousands of dollars worth of radio, because that was kind of the only game in town. You were either doing TV or radio, and TV was prohibitively expensive. So, but by the time we got there,
that wasn't the case.
Things were a little bit different.
They're just talking about what it used to be. Yeah. That's when I started comedy. They kept talking about the 80s. Like, it was great. There were lines around the block. We were talking in a room that was supposed to have a show, but no one showed up in. Yeah. Like, wow, sounds amazing.
Yes, sounds great. Congratulations on you. That sounds good for you. But I think comedy right now is kind of seeing a renaissance. It has.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
So, yeah.
It's great. Everybody's talking about it. Yeah, the podcast and the comedy. It's so popular around the world. Yeah. In Amsterdam, every local show is packed.
Really?
Yeah. In Berlin, there's mobs every show.
Do you yourself do a lot of traveling for comedy? I mean, besides here in the continental United States, do you do a lot of traveling outside the U.S.?
No, I do. So comedy's really pretty cool. Is even when you're just beginning, there's this occasional like free trip to a wild place.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Me and my friend Paul Morrissey, we did this comedy festival in Montreux, Switzerland, in like 2009 or 10.
Yeah.
Free trip out there. They room and board. We had them fly us back from Amsterdam. So then we were like, let's take the train to Amsterdam after that. And we just kind of made a deal with each other. Like, let's keep doing these.
Right.
I got flown to Hong Kong and Shanghai, Iceland. And these are all times where I could not afford these trips.
For sure.
Yeah.
You're like,
and then you're out there. Yeah. And then there's somebody there telling you, like, I got the hotel for you, where it's so scary. It's kind of like easy internet.
Yeah.
And everything's so frightening. They're like, oh, well, I got a hotel for you. I'll pick you up from the airport. And then they just tell you some details. Like in Shanghai, they're like, hey, it's really safe here. The punishments for violent crime are wild.
Yeah,
there's like an embarrassment thing in this culture. So like no one's like, drunk women will fall asleep with their phone in their hand and wake up with their phone in their hand.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So once they told me that, I was like, oh, I'm free. And I would just like wander out to like a place I couldn't communicate. I'd learn the word for like beef. And then I'm like, what beef? And then they point to a giant sign of like 30 different beef dishes. And I'm like, all right, just guess.
Not the dog. not the dog. Yes.
Please. Yeah, I had dog once. I didn't have it, but I saw it on the menu once at East Timor.
Did you
I was
really?
like, yeah, like, what is that? They told me. I was like, what's that word? And they were like, bark, bark, bark. And I was like, chicken?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, bark, bark, bark.
Bark.
And I was like, oh, that's all right. That's
Yeah,
all
I'm
right.
good on that.
Yeah.
I'll pass on the bark.
Yeah. It was like room temperature. You could tell it wasn't even fresh. It's like, this isn't going to be the time that I start with dog. You know the saying, like, would you ever try human meat? And you're always like, well, okay, what did they do? They had to have done something wrong.
Yeah.
And then also, like, how's it prepared? Fine chef?
That's
Or
right.
just lying around? Am I eating raw, like, alive? You know? But yes, flown me all over. So it's like really great. And now I like book gigs, you know, even though I can't afford, but it's like trips through Europe. I did one tour in Greece and then stayed for like a week.
Oh yeah, I would do that.
Matched up an Australian tour with this like rugby match.
How did you like Australia?
I love Australia. They're the biggest cokeheads in the world. They're the biggest cokeheads and with the worst coke. So if you meet an Australian outside of Australia, they're like, the coke is great here and it's so cheap.
You're like, no, it's not.
Like,
It's full of baby laxative. Yeah. Well, yeah, they don't grow it naturally. Everything there has got to be imported, right? So that's probably why it's some of the worst cocaine. And it's so far away from anything. Where are they getting the cocaine from? It's certainly not coming from South America. China, probably, I would imagine.
Yeah, maybe. Right? Where does Europe get their cocaine?
From Africa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they ship it over and they run it through Africa. There's like, we went to Sevilla, Spain for a wedding, which is like near the Cape. So you could take a boat over to Africa. And one of the guys was telling me that Sevilla, while a beautiful and pretty tame town in general, is known to have a lot of drug running through it. Like people will take over those boats, those ferries.
It's on the water.
Yeah, because it's on the water, and they'll run drugs up into Europe, into Spain. Yeah,
on a ferry.
On a ferry. And Great Britain's appetite for cocaine has grown exponentially. So there's a lot of drug running that goes around, that goes on through Spain so that they can get it up to Europe. I know all about the cocaine, and don't ask me why.
The Brits
it's not
love their
because
powder.
I spent 10 years of my life staring at myself in a mirror on the table. I was doing some self-reflection. I'll be here all week.
This is everybody. They're like, do you like coke? Like, no, I don't like it at all. Why, do you have some?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey man, that guy over there, he's a cokehead. Yeah, really? I'll go talk to him.
I'll tell him to beat it. I'll go talk to him privately. Get out of here.
I'll talk to him. I'll be back in 2 to 3 hours. We're gonna go to the bathroom together.
Remember when you didn't know what cocaine was, and you're like,
yes.
Why is everyone's bladder so small? Dude?
I know. Right?
Everyone just keeps getting up.
I've been to those parties.
Yeah.
Before you knew what it was.
Only parties I went to for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, I was a manager at a bar, and it was just clear as day. If you knew what to look for, and I did, because it takes one to know one, right? If you knew what to look for, you would know. And then, of course, you always had the local dealer, the guy
that sits at the bar.
And you just keep him in check a little bit. You're like, hey, don't be so obvious about it, because it's good for business. Yeah, be less obvious about your cocaine. It was. We talked to Steve O. It was like our couple, I don't know, year and a half ago, and Steve was telling us that when he was getting high, he had a night with Mike Tyson where they did 2 8 balls of cocaine. They sat in a Las Vegas bathroom for 4 hours doing 2 8 balls of cocaine. Him and Mike Tyson. He told this story, and for like 5 minutes, I didn't say a word. My jaw was on the floor. I was like, think about being in a room, coked up, with a certified killer, a small room. And I know Mike, he seems now like a very self-reflective, smart, empathetic human being. But there was a time.
This is Coke Mike.
Yeah,
this is not Mushroom Mike. Yeah, Mushroom Mike is nice. Yeah, Coke Mike is a problem.
Tell me what your favorite place to visit is. Like all the places you've been, what is your favorite?
I've always wanted to go to Iceland. How was that?
Iceland it's gorgeous.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, and then I have a friend who started the Icelandic comedy scene, also named Ari. And so he was like, let's do a little tour. I'll leave my family for a couple of days. And he'd show me the north, and he knew all the little secret spots. He's like, over Sheep Meadow here, I think there's like a fissure. I remember this when I was a kid, and we found a rope. You just climb down. It's just a hot spring, like a natural hot spring in this fissure.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and like no one's there. You're just there swimming around and like in this hot water, like swimming, not just soaking in it, for like 2 hours, and no one's there.
Wow.
It's just so out there.
Yeah.
Iceland rules, and the chicks are so hot.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, they all look exactly the same.
Yeah, they're all blonde and 6 feet tall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're forward thinking. You're like, can I buy you a drink? They're like, why? All over Scandinavia and Iceland, they're like, why? What do you mean? Why would you buy me a drink?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're so equal there. It's like it's foreign to here.
I love that.
Hey, that's incredible. So is Iceland one of the favorite places that you've been?
Iceland, yeah. I like going to places where like it's kind of like I can't like communicate with anybody, or I can't like yeah, exactly. Or I can't even like talk to home, where it's like too far out where I'm really, really lost.
Yeah.
Going through like Southeast Asia, through like Myanmar and East Timor and Indonesia and South America too, where I'm like, it's just real rural.
Yeah.
You just have to like try to get some of the language to where you can like just order some food.
You like a challenge. You like to travel where it's a bit of a challenge.
A new experience.
I like being uncomfortable. Yeah. And then Berlin also is great for drugs. Berlin is the best. Berlin is the best city.
I have heard.
Yeah.
I've heard Berlin is like the wildest party scene on earth.
Wild. And nobody cares about anything negative. They only care about the positive. So there's no more like bitching about like, well, I raised this way and it was hard. They're all past that. Like, what are you into now?
Nice.
Yeah. So I saw somebody that was like, when I was there last time, there was somebody new to Berlin, and they were like, well, I'm non-binary. And all these like trans chicks like, oh, no one's talking about that shit anymore. Like they were like, yeah, grow up.
Yeah.
We're all so far past that. And there was like, what are you into? What kind of music do you like?
Yeah.
We're not talking about that dumb shit anymore. It's like, yeah. It's like here in this country going, I'm gay. They're like, yeah, who cares?
Right.
This is 1987. Nobody gives a fuck about gay anymore.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the drugs are crazy. And you're walking on the street and you hear like music and you're looking at like the side of a building. And you're like, what? And you're like, oh, maybe that's a door. And you kind of push it. And there's a guy there going, €5. And you're like, okay. And then you just go in there. And then there's like some like industrial warehouse dance scene with like, oh, I loved it.
Fun.
That's incredible. I like sometimes watching videos about the Berlin club scene because it's just big. Wild. It's like literally an old steel factory, 15 football fields large. Not a space in between the human beings. There's 10,000 people in there, and they're all just fucked up and getting down. And it feels, even when you're watching the videos, it feels liberating. You're like, oh, wow.
It's so cool. Dude, I've seen like fat, naked people with just shoes and socks on, like jumping up and down, dancing. Yes. I was like self-conscious about dancing, and then I'm like, I'm fine. I don't care. Yeah, there's that, and there's a supermodel over there, and you're like, this is nutty.
Yeah.
And then someone's getting their fucking dick sucked behind you, and you're like, what?
Oh, there's a big like sex club
there's a big
scene.
sex club scene there too, huh?
Yeah, but even the non-sex clubs are like, well, you can just fuck a little.
Just do whatever.
Did you fuck a little?
Yeah. I've had like 2 hours into this one, I just passed some lady just on her knees, just like going after this guy. And I'm like 2 hours into this place, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Walk by. I was just desensitized to it. I've seen hands disappear and butts.
Whoa.
Yeah. I've seen like, wait, where does that? Oh. But like, be cool. Be cool on it. Act like you've been here before. Yeah. It was so hard. I'm not cool.
Be cool.
He's trying to look out of the side of your eyes like, why don't I have sunglasses on?
Yeah.
I know better. Be cool like that.
Yes, always
and no
sunglasses.
Yes, the first rule of Nude Beach. Wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's your friend. Hard black or silver sunglasses.
We visit Spain a lot, and Spain is also another liberated country. You walk on any of the beaches there, and you're certainly going to see tits, not the whole thing. And they don't care. There's like literally children, right next to the nude women. It's just part of the culture. They don't give a shit. They're not hung up on the stuff we are.
Yeah.
But I learned the first time. Wear sunglasses. Wear sunglasses. Yeah, don't stare at anybody.
My favorite thing about Spain is the racism only against gypsies.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, when we're like gypsies, they're like, "Don't say that word in here."
Yes.
And they're like, okay. And then they're like very on the surface about it. They're not trying to hide it. They're like, they fucking suck. no gypsies allowed signs.
Yes.
I've heard that.
It is a little bit weird, but there's like this separatist culture sometimes that goes on in Spain because there is a whole part, the Basque country in Spain, that is a different universe, and they speak a different version of, they in some parts they speak a different language almost.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a dialect, but it's almost a different language. But there's a separatist, like Basque country is different than the rest of Spain, and you need to be mindful sometimes about what you say and who you're with.
Yeah, it was cool. Everywhere in Barcelona, you see those like Basque flags up.
Yeah.
Like the separatist flags up, and they're like, oh, they want out for sure.
Oh, they definitely want out.
Yeah. They're like barely minority.
I like in Texas, Texas to America is what Basque Country is to Spain.
Okay.
Yes. So they believe they're a different country. Everybody says they're a different country. They don't sometimes follow the same rules. But that's just, there's just a long history in Spain of civil disobedience and unrest and stuff like that. The Spanish Civil War was not too long ago, actually.
Other people in Texas, like, Texas is a republic. It's not a state. And we're like, fuck off.
I know.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, you can call yourself whatever you want. Yeah. And Iranians are Persian. Shut the fuck up.
My brother-in-law just moved there, and he comes back, and he's like, Texas is great. I'm like, dude, first of all, you're Venezuelan. Second first of all, you just came from Venezuela. Don't act like Texas. Don't act like Texas is a different country.
They have a Texas pride thing.
I know, he's got it. He's only
do.
been there for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden he's, Texas needs to, separate from the United. And I'm like, dude, come on, really? Don't be like that. Get in the country first, and then go from there. Who's your favorite guest on UB Trippin', and what's the favorite story you've heard on UB Trippin' so far?
Okay, we just had the Trippy Awards for the first year. I just think it's the first year of it. Yeah. The best guest, best trip was Harlan Williams. He took a back of a National Geographic. He was throwing one out, and he saw a little sign that says, "Would you like to go around the world for 30 grand?" And it was a 35-day around the world trip.
No way.
35 grand, 30 grand. And it was, you start in Los Angeles, you go west, and you go to the Galapagos, you go to Easter Island, you go to Tibet, go to all these places. They take you on tours. They take you on different things as you're there. The Taj Mahal.
No,
it was so
National
nutty.
Geographic has their own travel plans.
It was so nutty. They had it's private plane for 70 people. And on the plane rides, they'd have like experts that were in National Geographic talk to you about like the new coming place. It was such a wild show, and he's so funny with it. So it's like
funny, yeah.
Yeah, he showed me a picture of some guy at the Taj Mahal picking his nose so far up, it's like his bottom knuckle is gone. He goes, "I've never stopped thinking about this guy for 30 years. Where did his finger go? I thought maybe he had no finger, but he pulled it out and he came out so far." And then, but we've had some great ones. Joe List had one where he's trying to get a girlfriend back on the hike to Machu Picchu. He's like his ex-girlfriend. He's like, "Do you want to go?" And she goes, "Just as friends." He goes, "Yeah, just as friends." And then he hangs up and goes, "Getting her back."
Right.
Yeah. And then she getting like terrible diarrhea on the way. He's just trying to like fuck her while she has diarrhea in the naked jungle. Yeah. That's been some good ones. That's some really good ones.
Yeah, you've had some interesting guests on the show. Harlan Williams, by the way, has that Disney money. He's got that Puppy Dog Pals cash.
Puppy Dog Palace. What is that from? That's the name of the show.
You wouldn't know this unless you had young kids. Yeah, it's Puppy Dog Pals. He created it, and he does the voices, a few of the voices in this show called Puppy Dog Pals, which took over this. Like now it's Bluey. It's all about Bluey, but a cycle ago, it was all Puppy Dog Pals all the time on Disney Junior. Yeah, and it was created by Harlan, and I think he wrote a lot of the stories. So, and it was like Harlan Williams. You could hear the voice. You could you recognize the voice instantaneously.
The guy who drank piss and Dumb and Dumber. The guy who drank pee and Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right.
He's so good at that.
You had Tucker Carlson on. I didn't listen to the episode, but that was an interesting get.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is fight back against all this divisiveness by including everyone and taking them away from the thing that's being divisive. Mm-hmm. And everyone, the response is a lot of like, "How dare you? I'm done with you." And I'm like, I'm on your side. I'm making a guy who talks about something that makes you angry, not talk about that thing.
Yeah.
So all he did was we shared a love of travel. So I'm like, come in. We're not going to talk about politics at all. We're just going to talk about some fun place you've been. I met him once and I met him. He did some little mini documentary on stand-up comedy. And so we all did like remote interviews. My publicist was like, if you do this, we will never work with you again. I'm like, that's nuts. I'm not getting into that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he just liked what I had to say, where like stand up, like there's this like theory that stand up is hard now. Everyone's trying to come after us. I'm like, that's a little of that, but it's a great time.
Yeah.
You know, Nate Bargatze's doing for the, you know, with the Atlanta Hawks play. It's going great.
It's everyone's doing fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So he liked it. And he's like, you know, I'd like to meet you. I'd like to use my podcast. And I went up to his. I was in Maine for a family trip. And I was like, I'll come by. And he goes, well, it's the day after the debate, the Biden and Trump debate. So we have to talk about that. And I was like, brother, I don't care at all about politics. I understand that's your thing. If you talk about it, you'll be talking to a brick wall. I don't know anything about it. I don't care about it. It's boring to me. Yeah. And he goes, okay, then I'll wait till the next episode. Don't worry about it. And we just talked about other stuff, talked about gospel music and all this, I don't know, the Talmud. He was reading the Talmud. And I was like, yeah, it was like fun. And then anyone who was like, I hate this, like, well, read it, watch it. It's pretty interesting. So on my podcast, they just talk about the UAE and the problems with it and the cool things we've seen there.
I would fall victim to this if I'm being real honest. If I'm being real self-reflective, I would fall victim to this because I see the word Tucker Carlson and I feel a certain type of way. And then I'm like, okay, not going to listen to that. I'm not going to let it get under my skin, right? It doesn't make me discount the conversation. It doesn't make me discount you. It's just like, I just don't care for Tucker Carlson. But I do like what you're saying, which is...
Yeah, he's a great traveler.
You know who we had on? I don't know if you've ever seen the guy at Channel 5 News, Andrew Callahan. You don't watch political stuff, but there's a guy on YouTube named Andrew Callahan, and he made a documentary on HBO called This Place Rules. And then, so anyway, he's a kid. He's not a kid. He's in his 20s. And
he started out as a kid.
Yeah, he's got millions.
Is that all brakes, no gas?
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that guy rules.
Yeah, so we had him on last week, right?
Oh,
and
cool.
This show is not political. We try and, we call it the commercial break, take a break from all the bullshit. And so we very rarely...
That's my whole special.
Yeah. There you go.
That's my whole special's point. Great. Yeah. I love it.
And your special is great. And it does do that particular ethos a lot of justice. But we had him on, and one of the reasons why I had him on, even though we don't talk about politics, because Andrew is saying we have to get to the reasons why people are so divisive and stop talking about and stop harping on the talking points that are making it so divisive. We're not getting anywhere with that. And so he put out a new documentary, does a really good job of kind of uncovering why people are getting to this point and who they are as human beings, because they're your neighbors, they're your friends. Everybody, we can't go on forever just fucking at each other's throats. There has to be some conversation. You make an interesting point. Let's take him away from the thing that's making him divisive and just make him, there's humanity there. Let's talk about it. We have some shared interest. So congratulations. I like that.
Yeah, it's funny. Week to week, people go, I can't believe you're this left-leaning hippie, and now I can't believe this right-leaning Nazi. It's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to talk to fun people about cool places they've been. I'm trying to make the world better, and you guys are stuck in that thing. Now, I think we're all at that point now where it's like, okay, we've all accepted we got to now go, so now what?
Right.
Yeah.
We know they're spying on us for ads. We know they're doing all these things. So now what?
Yeah, how do we move forward?
Yeah, and I try to think we gotta focus on something good in every situation. So Tucker Carlson's a good example. When I went on his podcast, the comments were, first, this guy's a heretic. He never read the New Testament, only the Old. There's a lot of Christians, because we were talking about the Talmud. There was a lot of, I'm done with you now, Ari, after this. There was a lot of, I'm done with you now, Tucker, after having this guy on.
Yeah.
Wow.
We both got thrown away by her audience for talking to each other. And it was like, you guys are wild. And then you get an occasional, really interesting stuff. Never seen the side of either of you.
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about politics for 5 years almost.
Great.
And then we said the word, and then the election came, and we felt that it was just too big of a story to ignore. We had to say something, but we didn't bash anybody. We just said, Trump's president, and even though he wasn't our choice, we hope that everything goes well. And you would not believe that within a heartbeat, we had reviews of people, I'm never listening to you again, you bash Trump. And it's like, I didn't bash Trump. That's not what I did. I just said that he wasn't my choice. But
so everyone's this riled up.
It's crazy.
I don't think you can change it. You want to change it. You can't change it. I think you just got to focus on yourself and just be the starfish thing?
No. What's that?
Those two guys walking on the beach, and let's make it a guy and a girl so we can be inclusive today.
Okay, do that.
It's a guy and a girl walking on the beach, and and there's 1,000 starfish washed up from the high tide. And they're like, oh my God, they're all going to die, because they're not in the water.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is weird. And so then one guy picks up one of the starfish and he like throws it back in the water. And then they kind of walk inside, and the girl's like, what's that going to do? It's not going to make a dent in all these starfish dying. And he goes, what's going to matter for that one starfish?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it's like you just have to focus on yourself. When everyone's doing that, just go, okay, how can I reach across an aisle? How can I just focus on something positive? I mean, it's like, it's kind of easy. It's like 5 days on vacation, 1 day rained.
Yeah.
All right, I learned a new card game when we're stuck inside. That's fun. This all of Modest Mouse music is just like focusing on the positive part. And then your mental state is like pretty nice.
Yeah. There's this guy.
Instead of going, look at that Trump flag on that house, go, wow, look at that deck they built on that house.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Focus on something different.
Uh-oh. Ari's getting to me.
I know.
Yeah.
Ari's getting to me.
And then you start to like, your mental state goes higher and better. You're just like, you're in a good mood. You know those people who are like, one's always happy, one's always upset. There's one's cooler to be around.
You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah.
You know the guy, Dr. Wayne Dyer, passed away a couple of years ago. He used to be on PBS all the time. Bald guy. Positivity. Anyway,
he called himself Dyer, then he died.
Yeah, he did. He had this saying. It said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at start to change, right? And I think that's what you're saying, essentially, and focus on the things that are good instead of the things that divide us. You're getting to me.
I had a friend who did this.
Just as much energy.
I didn't expect to feel this way about this interview. I'm having feels.
I had this friend who moved to Los Angeles, and he hated it. And he said, everybody's like, how do you like LA? He was there for a writing job. He goes, I hate it. I'm like, what do you hate about it? Because there's no change of weather. It's like burritos only everywhere. It's fucking, the people are annoying. And then every party, people would ask him, how do you like LA? He got sick of saying the same reasons. So he goes, it's just a dumb conversation. I hate LA, but I want to say this every single party I'm at.
Yeah.
So he started saying, like, I like it. To have people just like, enough, I don't want to talk about it. And they go, what do you like about it? He goes, I don't know. There's no weather change. It's, so it's good weather, good burritos. And then, like, after he started saying it, he said for like a couple months, he started like liking LA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is true.
It
because
happens.
There is, so I don't want to get like too woo-woo here on this particular podcast. I'll do that in my own personal life. But at the end of the day, the metaphysical becomes the physical.
It does, yeah.
So if you are wishing the negative, if you are talking about it constantly, you're going to manifest and focus on those things.
Yeah.
It's not to say that you can just think yourself into being a millionaire. I don't believe that. But if you can't also, you can certainly think yourself out of being a millionaire. Do you know what I'm saying? You can certainly focus on the negative and stay depressed and lazy and unmotivated.
Yeah. Sometimes the negative helps you, but it's like, look, I'm barely getting by, but I'm doing better than some third world countries. You focus on that, and then you're like, oh, I'm all right. I'm pretty good. I live in America. We have a lot of rights here. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you this, Ari, because
there's term limits. You don't like a president? We live in a country where there's term limits.
Well, we hope so.
We hope so.
I was hooking up with this chick in college a long time ago when Trump won the first time. So it was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
We had a little fling at a festival. And then, so I asked her, she was in school in Florida, and I was like, what are college kids saying about Trump? Like, are you guys like real pissed? Because that's like the bastion of like new liberals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she goes, it's whatever. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, he's going to be the president for between 4 and 8 years, but then he'll be gone. We also voted on legal weed, and that got passed. And so that's here forever. So we're all pretty happy about this election.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we got a guy who's in and out and legal weed for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So it was she was like A1.
And I take this stance that, in this country, at least, we have the freedom to vote for who we want to. And no matter who is in office, and you're right, the pendulum swings
you
one
can make
way
fun
or
of
the
them.
other. You can make fun of them.
Yeah.
And you can wish them well. You can not like the things that they do, but you can also agree that when they do things that are good for you or that you agree with, that you should applaud those efforts because that is the way that the country works. Actually rooting for someone to fail is rooting for negativity in general.
Yeah, let's say I don't follow either side. I gave up on it so long ago. I was like, aren't they all just crooks? Didn't we all agree government is crooks?
Yes.
And then people are like, but they're the worst ones. And I'm like, guys, just don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. You're like, this guy murdered 7 people. This guy only murdered 2.
Right.
It's like, just go away from all of them. It's like, but it's like, it's a lot of these people, like, they hate Trump and they hated Biden. Like, if he came into the room and he'd be like, I'm leaving, like, you wouldn't talk to him and say, like, hey, Indian embargo in Cuba.
Yeah.
You wouldn't try to, like, have some influence?
Sure.
I would.
Yeah.
If Trump came in the room today, I would not leave. If Trump...
You'd have to say hi, be pleasant, and not like, fuck you, bitch. It's like, great, you said your thing, you've gotten no change in the world.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Follow it.
I agree with you 100%. We said this during the campaign, and while this was not the platform for it, but if either of those candidates had said, hey, I'll have a conversation with you, how could you at least not have that conversation, right? How could you at least not want to talk to them and try and get inside of their heads or have a conversation that might be meaningful or maybe even lead to some change?
If you could get Biden and Trump, or not, then Kamala and then Trump. Forgot Biden pulled out. But those are the last two presidents. So Biden and Trump in a room. And you're like, guys, let's talk. And then you could bring them both drinks, like, let's sit down, Sprite. And then 30 minutes in, go, okay, guys, I have put Molly in both of your drinks. So should be hitting right about now. Yes. Too late. You're not going anywhere. So we're going to start liking each other. Yeah. Settle in. I'm going to put some music on. If you feel like dancing, you can dance.
Go for it.
Yeah. Biden, we got a walker for you. You're not going to fall. Guys, it's going to be great. Yeah. Let me introduce you to Big Frida. And we will get up and we will go.
What if we'll take them to a German sex club and we'll have them both dance naked with socks on. If it's me, I'm bringing them ayahuasca. I saw the most interesting reel one time. This guy had made an AI. He had said, what if Trump did ayahuasca? He made an AI reel about the evolution of Trump if Trump did ayahuasca. And it went through all these pictures and photographs as he went from like this stern, grumpy, kind of vengeful guy into this loving, caring hippie where his hair grew out and he was shirtless in the jungle. And he was sitting there like this, going like this. And I thought to myself, it could fucking happen. Could fucking happen. If guy wants to do ayahuasca, Trump, if you want to do ayahuasca, I know a guy who knows a guy. I'm just saying, we can do it together.
A shaman who knows a shaman.
Shaman, I know.
Oh, we can get the entire government out there to do ayahuasca.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Listen, ayahuasca is not to be toyed with. She is a fickle bitch, right? But if those who are ready would do it, I think that we probably have a little bit.
We could start with Molly.
Yeah.
I like starting with Molly.
Yeah, I went on the Daily Wire yesterday, 2 days ago. Yeah, and they're just as nuts as the left wing, as the super hard, where they're just like, they have these talking points. They haven't really thought them out. They just have these talking points. Yeah. It's cool to see because I live in a liberal kind of bubble, so I mostly only see the left wing ones. But it's funny to see the right wings. But one of the questions they had in this stupid game show, like, would the world be better if every single person had to have one psychedelic trip? And I was like, yes. And he was like, no. And I'm like, are you nuts? And I'm like, do you believe in God? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, what? Who made mushrooms?
Right.
Who made mushrooms? I get it on acid. Who made mushrooms then?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I fought that so hard. I'm like, you don't think it'd be better if everyone just one time removed themselves from their ego? Totally. Just one time?
Totally.
1,000%. If everyone could see how the ego is driving us all fucking up a wall, then I think most of us would agree.
And then we're all connected.
Yeah. You feel like the tendrils of humanity all in the soil connected. Yeah. And then he goes, I don't want to get addicted. I'm like, you're a dork. Nobody gets addicted
to mushrooms.
Okay, this isn't the 50s, loser. Yeah. We have more research now. Right. You're not going to do them again for a year. Shut up. Addicted to mushrooms. Get out of town.
Oh my God, what a silly thing to think. What a silly thing to think. Do some mushrooms. You'll understand. Yeah. You're not doing that every Tuesday night, right? Hey, Ari, I wanted to ask you something. Are you taking a break?
Yeah, I'm going to go travel for a while.
Oh, are you?
Good for you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm going to sell all my stuff and go down to one backpack and
fantastic.
Put a little bit of stuff in storage, get out of my apartment, and just go travel South America. I think.
No shit.
Southeast Asia.
Do you live in Nashville or where do you live?
No, I'm just here for the weekend.
Right.
For shows. I live in New York City.
In New York.
Yeah. So, I just want to take a fallow year.
What prompted this? You're good. Like, there's no health issues. You're good. This is just. I just want to take a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
I finished the special. I did my job. Then I did a little tour. I'm in the middle of a little tour. Tickets at arishafir.com. We'll be in Atlanta.
You're coming to Atlanta.
We've got to go.
Yeah, in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got to go.
All right. We will be.
Let me know. I'll give you nice tickets if you want.
Okay. Yes, we will.
Of course, we would love to.
I'll text you.
Yeah.
You're texting my wife, so I'll text you back. I'm
really?
I'm keeping it close.
Oh, no disrespect. I was just trying to rearrange the. I just want to rearrange the meeting.
You just want to go have a lunch. You just want to go have a boozy lunch.
Yeah. We've been married so long. I don't care. Whatever.
But yeah, then I was like, I took care of work and I just want to see the world.
Nice, and you can still walk, and like you have your health, and that's important to be able to try.
Oh yeah, you see these people anchor walk. You see all these old people with canes, and it's nice they're still doing it. But like, man,
still,
I know. This at 35.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you doing that indicates you have some level of like mental health, because so many people, including myself, will just work yourself into a frenzy and just keep on going and just keep on going. I'll put it off. I'll do it next year. Blah blah blah. And even though I do a lot of traveling, I can understand that it must be really difficult to take a pause and say, I'm actually going to take this year off, and I'm just going to take care of myself. I'm going to do some traveling. I'm going to go and do what I want to do.
Idea.
Enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Once you get over like 2 to 3 weeks gone, and you go to a second country that your anchor's not even from your old country, your anchor's in like, I don't have an anchor anymore. You know, you go from Myanmar to like Thailand. You're like, I'm not coming from America anymore. I'm coming from Myanmar.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just floating.
I had a friend who just did that. She just got back from doing 3 years.
Wow.
Traveler. I mean, she was able to work while she was,
that's the dream.
but she just went for 3 years, traveled the whole world. She was always most different. And I mean, just the best experience. She's in New York. She actually just moved back to New York. So,
I mean, does anyone look at that lady's trip and go, lame?
No.
No, not a single person.
A blast. And
And you know what? You're going to come back and probably create the best special you've created, because you're going to have perspective, time to work on it, cut your teeth, meeting people.
Yeah.
And you're going to dry the market. You're going to dry the Ari market out. There's going to be no supply. You'll build up demand.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. If you don't see me now, you're not going to see me for quite a while.
Yeah.
Hey, right. Yeah. You got to think about it that way. Ari, this is a conversation.
We could talk forever.
We could talk forever. This is a conversation I didn't expect, actually, and I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to do it. I love that.
I play a heel on mine, so you talk to me, it's like, oh.
Well, actually, I never thought ill of you. I just was, I was curious about some things, like, I wonder why Tucker Carlson. Yeah, Tucker Carlson seems like an interesting choice. But you watch your special, and it's clear that you're on the team of common sense, humanity, and being pragmatic about the way that you look at the world. And I can appreciate you said, hey, listen, I don't watch the fucking news, haven't in years. That's something I wish I could do. But I really appreciate your perspective, and I've enjoyed this conversation.
Thanks, guys.
We're going to see
America's
you in March.
Sweetheart is.
Yeah,
I will text you. We will be there for sure. Thank you very much for the offer. We'll take you up on it. I want to come see.
If I can find some Molly for you, I will. But I'm just coming into town, so I don't know if I'll be able to.
You're coming into town,
mushrooms.
so we'll take care of it.
Okay.
We'll take care of you. Okay. This is our turn.
Yeah, we'll
Let
take
us
care
treat
of you.
And when you wake up the next morning, we'll take you for some fantastic breakfast and burgers.
Yes.
If you can
Waffle
see, if you
House.
can see straight. Listen, we just went to Bill Murray last night. Krissy and I did, and we're lucky Krissy showed up today. That's all I got to say.
Oh, really? Tying it on. Nice, Krissy.
Yeah, why not?
Ari's brand new special, America's Sweetheart, is now streaming on the mega comedy platform, the Netflix. And he's also got his podcast, You Be Trippin', available on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this podcast, you can check out his. It is a fascinating podcast. I've listened to a couple of episodes. I will now go listen to the Tucker episode. Permission granted. Tucker Carlson.
You granted yourself
I will
permission.
hide in the corner and listen. I'm granting myself.
And the Harlan one. Go to the Harlan one, too.
That's the one I'm actually interested in listening to, is the Harlan one. Ari, we'll see you in a couple weeks. You are welcome back anytime, my friend. Thank you so much.
Enjoy Nashville.
And thanks for your perspective. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Did not expect that conversation from Ari, and I'm sure I'm glad that we had him on, because
so
I have
fun.
a new level of fandom for Mr. Ari, and I can't wait to see him. I hope that we get to go to the show here in Atlanta. I'm going to have Astrid text him, so don't get too excited. If he gives us tickets, we're going to go. Maybe even if he doesn't give us tickets, then we'll go regardless.
Yeah, we're going no matter what.
Yeah,
I've got it on the calendar.
I don't think I've ever seen comedy at the Tabernacle.
Oh, you haven't?
No, I've never seen comedy at the Tabernacle.
I actually saw Joe Rogan there.
You saw Joe Rogan at the Tabernacle?
And I, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How long ago?
Years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
And what did you think?
It was funny.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
All right, there you go. Look at that. Krissy's at the Tabernacle.
That's my
watching.
part of town, you know.
That is. It was my part of town for a long time too. But then you get kids and you go north. That's what happens. Everybody goes north when they have kids for understandable reasons.
Yeah.
There's more land. You got whatever. Anyway, I don't want to get into all the local politics here. But Ari was I thought a very fascinating character.
Me too.
Really
I had a great
funny.
time talking
And
to him.
I'm so glad that we had a chance to have him on. And I hope he does come back. That could have been a conversation that went on for 2 hours if I'm being honest. But we don't get that much time with guests. We're no Joe Rogan. Ari will spend 4 hours with Joe, but he won't spend 1 hour with us. Thanks, Ari. Appreciate it. I'm kidding, of course. All right, so all of Ari's information is going to be down in the show notes. I would certainly appreciate it if you go check out his new special, and I know he would too, America's Sweetheart, his tickets to his farewell tour.
Yeah, farewell
Did you know
tour.
his farewell? It's called his farewell
I did.
tour.
I just looked it up after we spoke to him.
I thought that was interesting that we just did a farewell episode a couple days ago, and now look at that. Ari's here doing his
I guess
farewell
he's going
tour.
on a big travel expedition.
And I wish him...
Good for him. That sounds fun.
When I saw that he was taking a break, when I listened to his podcast, and then I kind of put two and two together.
Which is called You Be Trippin'.
You Be Trippin', yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that he was taking a break, the first thing that I thought was, I hope there's no health issues or anything like that. Hope he's not taking off because there's something that he needs to go do health-wise. But by all indications, he's just going to
do it.
Soak it all up.
Yeah.
Enjoy life. And
Why
he's
not?
right. He's right about this. You should do that before you get to the villages, not after you get to the villages. Because there are so many times that I'm traveling and with older people, or I see older people, and they're not having the time of it that they could have had they done this 30 years earlier. That's no knock on them. It's just he's right. I don't want to be that person. I would rather do it now, have the memories, and then do what I can when I get older than wish that I had done all of that and trying to do it as I get older. Ari Shaffir, very funny. All the information in the show notes, as it always is. Thank you very much for coming in, Ari. We certainly do appreciate it.
Yeah.
AriShaffir.com, America's Sweetheart. Tickets on sale now, and You Be Trippin'. All of that shit. Go check it out. Also, tune in this week as Krissy and I delve more into our experience with Bill Murray and the Blood Brothers, and what an experience it was. Average age in the crowd, at least where we were standing, 62.
It was.
62.
I always in the bathroom and the woman was talking about her cataracts.
Yeah.
I was
How things have changed.
Times have changed.
Yeah, usually at most concerts, you go into the bathroom and you see people exchanging blow. Right. Yeah, you got a doobie? Can I hit that? I got any shrooms? These people were talking about their cataracts or doing the Trump dance. There's a couple guys doing the Trump dance. Yeah. Well, I mean, Bill himself is 74 years old. He's no spring chicken. But he looked good out there. I do have to give it to him.
Did.
He looked good out there. He went the whole, he went full bore the whole time. More cowbell. Bink, 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 bink. Well, I don't want to down on Bill because I know he's doing his thing, but it's clear that what Bill did is he found a band that he really, really likes, and he said, I want to help you guys out a little bit.
Yeah, let's go on tour.
Let's go
sell
on
the
tour.
tickets.
I'll sell the tickets. You guys take the cash. I'll be at the Ritz. You'll be at the Red Roof Inn. I'll take the private plane. You take the tour bus rented at U-Haul. You guys do the load in, load out. I'll be there 15 minutes before the show starts. And, but, hey, listen, I'm sure if I'm in the Blood Brothers, I'm not complaining one bit.
No.
I've been doing this all my life at shitty little dive bars, and finally, I'm selling out bigger venues, and it doesn't matter because now I get to hang out with Bill Murray. And I'm sure there are some stories to tell. Yeah. Oh, to be backstage at the Bill Murray show. All right, 212-433-3TCB, 212-433-3822. Text us questions, comments, concerns, content ideas, or leave us a voicemail, and you can be on the next episode of The Commercial Break. Make it short, make it brief. Don't say your name if you don't want your name heard. TCBpodcast.com, all the audio, video, at The Commercial Break on Instagram, and YouTube.com/The Commercial Break. all the videos right there on the YouTube channel. I love you.
I love you.
Best to you.
And best to you.
And best to you out there in the podcast universe. Until next time, Krissy and I will say, we do say, and we must say,
Goodbye.